Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Once Upon a Time at the Oscars. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Once Upon a Time at the Oscars,
the show that takes you through every Best Picture nominee from 1927 to today.
I'm your host, Kyle.
And I'm Ryan.
And here we are with the third film of the 2026 Academy year. Kind of a big deal, this movie.
It is. Yeah, I mean, in general, but also for both of us.
Yeah.
You know, we're both very big horror guys. And I think even beyond horror, we're both big Del Toro guys.
Yeah.
Of course, speaking of Guillermo del Toro, the director, storied career, absolutely like huge legacy, pretty heavy hitter across the board. Huge fan of Haunted Mansion, as are we.
This is true. What's your favorite Del Toro movie? Let's talk about that immediately.
Right out the gate.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Honestly, it's tough because it feels kind of like, when you're talking like Spielberg and you ask about Spielberg, everyone's like, well, I could tell you the cool answer, or I could just tell you that it's Jurassic Park. So for me, I mean, there's so many others it could be for Spielberg, but for me, I think it's that same situation with Pan's Labyrinth, where it's like, I could tell you that I really like Kronos, or that I'm a huge, like, you know, even he produced The Orphanage. He didn't direct it, but I really like The Orphanage a lot. It's Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, we're just kind of dancing around that all day. I think that is the most accurate way he's been, or sorry, not accurate, but that really is the truest work of his. Yeah. I think every theme that you see of his, and like the tragedy, the beauty, and like these creations and these monstrosities, that is Pan's Labyrinth. And I think it's like placed into like a real world scenario. It's incredible. So it's that one for me. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Pan's Labyrinth.
I mean, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, or whatever it was pretty great. But no, Pan's Labyrinth all the way.
Yeah, I think that's where he flourishes, is when he gets to do something original. And I know that's based on a lot of different things, but I feel like that is very much his vision.
Yeah.
Like his recent works, Nightmare Alley and things, I like them. They're good, but I think he really thrives when he gets to just completely do his own thing.
I'll swerve on you a little bit there. I think Nightmare Alley is my 2.
Oh, is it really?
I really like Nightmare Alley. But see, to me, that's like, this is actually kind of a great segue. To me, Nightmare Alley is the way that Guillermo can like kind of swerve a little bit from the lane he's been in and still like do movies that feel like Guillermo del Toro, right? Yeah. There's not a creature in sight, so to speak, within Nightmare Alley, but it still touches on like those horrors of humanity and like how we are like our own worst villain, our worst enemy. And also worth mentioning, and we'll get there in like 5 years from now, but like the final end shot of Nightmare Alley is one of the more like haunting things I can remember. And I just remember being absolutely floored watching that movie with that final scene, because I also think it's some of Bradley Cooper's best work.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true for sure. Yeah, when will we talk about that? I feel like it's going to be like 10 years.
It might be longer, yeah.
Yeah, 9 or 10 years.
Yeah, like 8.
Yeah,
like 8 or 9,
20
sure.
something, right?
That's true, yeah, you're right.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was 2020. That's right.
Yeah, so like 9 years or so.
Yeesh.
We're on our way.
We're on our way.
But anyway, let's get back to the movie we're talking about today.
We actually haven't said it.
No, we haven't. This is Frankenstein. Man, such a big deal. And
it's really the dragon he's been chasing for a long time, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I think I read as far as 2007 is when he first was like, I would love to do Frankenstein. That would be like my master project. That's a long time. That's like 20 years.
Yeah.
And now we got it. He has an interesting quote, too, that I didn't write to do word for word, but he was basically like, the pain of being an artist and a filmmaker is that when you find your dream project, once you make it, it's done. If it's a 10, it's a 10. If it's a 6.5, that's what it is. But it's done and the dream is over. And I think that's a really interesting quote when it comes to this movie in particular.
Do you know if he said 6.5, or is that the paraphrasing that you said?
He definitely said 6.5.
That's such an interesting thing for him to do. And we'll get into that here in a moment.
He wants decimals on Letterboxd.
My king. My absolute king, bring back. And you know what? We're at decimals. Like, we're at the 0.5. Give us more.
You're right.
Give us more. Give us more variety than just the 0.5. So, Del Toro, I stand behind you, my king. So let's talk a little bit about Frankenstein before we get into the, our feelings on it and everything. Nominations.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into those?
Yeah. Let me throw this out real quick. This was directed by Guillermo del Toro. Starred Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein, Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster, or the creature. The creature. As they put it in this movie. But he is Frankenstein's monster.
Correct.
Christoph Waltz, Mia Goth was in this, and it also starred Felix Kemmerer, Charles Dance, David Bradley, and Lars Mikkelsen.
Love seeing Lars Mikkelsen pop up here.
Yeah.
He's one of the first people on screen. I was the chimp. I was like hooting and hollering, like pointing. I was like, Lars Mikkelsen, no way. Yeah, so do you want me to run down the nominations list here?
Yeah, let's do it.
So nominated for nine total nominations. Supporting actor for Jacob Elordi, as you mentioned, as the creature. Adapted screenplay from Guillermo del Toro. Cinematography, original score, costume design, makeup and hairstyling, makeup and hairstyling, production design, and sound. With Frankenstein, Beauty and the Beast level, tale as old as time, right? This is something we've been talking about for, over a century now, right? With Mary Shelley.
Yeah, the novel came out in 1818.
Yeah. So, wow. Actually,
isn't that crazy?
2 centuries.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. What are your thoughts? Let's remove ourselves from the movie real quick. Frankenstein in general, the story. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So,
fan?
Yeah, this is one of the few times that I've read the source material.
Oh, okay.
Frankenstein, it's a great book. Hot take, big fan. But as far as the movies and things go, Frankenstein, like the universal monster Frankenstein, is at least top 2 of my favorite original films. Boris Karloff's performance as Frankenstein is incredible. That movie is like the perfect blend of horror and sad drama, which I think Frankenstein is.
Right, absolutely.
I haven't seen the Hammer horror and all of that, but I've seen the Kenneth Branagh Frankenstein. That's Kenneth Branagh, right?
Yeah.
With Robert De Niro.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seen that. I've seen the weird Frankenstein and Van Helsing, and I enjoyed that rendition of him too.
You've seen Young Frankenstein?
This is true. Just a great monster. Probably top 3 monsters of all time.
I think that's fair.
And I know, he's called the creature here because he's not really a monster, blah, blah, blah. But you know what I'm saying? He's such a pop culture icon, and this is a story that kind of transcends past the book and the movies, and everybody knows Frankenstein. I love him.
I think it's the same for me. He's a staple, and this is something we talked about with Del Toro. This was his dragon that he's been chasing for so long. And he finally got the opportunity to make his Frankenstein movie. Where I'll pivot a little bit there is, and I've told you this off pod, I think he's made his Frankenstein movie. I think he's made his Frankenstein movie a couple times.
Yeah.
He always finds those themes that he really enjoys and puts that into his movie. So I think that's already prevalent. But he finally got to make his true Frankenstein movie.
Right.
And it's not a surprise to me that he's named Jacob Elordi's character the creature, as opposed to Frankenstein's monster. He's never referred to as Frankenstein's monster. He's referred to as the creature. And I think that's very intentional because Del Toro has a sensibility to favor the science fiction or the horror or the monsters and blaming humanity. Humanity is the fault and the issue with this. So he is the creation of Victor Frankenstein. Look at me doing Frankenstein. He's the creation of Victor Frankenstein, and being the creation of that makes him a creature. Right? He's from a creator. He's the creature. Let's go ahead and dive into our feelings on this movie. This should have been great. I think we can both agree on that. This should have been great.
Absolutely. And I think you can argue that in a way it is great. It's this huge rolling epic. It visually, for the most part, it's gorgeous. The production design in this, the costume design, a lot of the visual effects are stunning. Not all of them, but a good bit of them. From a technical standpoint, this movie's fantastic.
More often than not, it looks great.
However, it's so weird because this story is over 200 years old now, and I think you can kind of, when making a Frankenstein movie, again, watching Van Helsing, that's not the story of Frankenstein. and that's just a small snippet, but you kind of just accept it. You're like, yeah, there's the creature, there's the monster. You should have a little bit of wiggle room in how you're telling this story, but this might just be heavy opinion based. Guillermo del Toro is the man I expected to take the novel and the story and do like a 1-to-1 version of that story.
Right.
Just 100% completely book accurate. And so much is changed in this movie, and it just doesn't work for me.
So you're right that it's not 1-to-1, and I think where it's not 1-to-1, there are moments that are like, okay, that's like straight from the novel, fine. But the things that are changed, it's almost kind of like we should have expected this, because the things that are changed are very Del Toro.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like he sought out to make like this perfect Frankenstein movie and it ended up being some like monstrosity, so to speak. It's not terrible. It's not a bad movie by any means. It's just completely fine.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think it's completely fine is that the changes that he made to it are so typical Del Toro. Like any violence that the monster exudes, or, you know, like in the novel, there's that whole side story with Frankenstein's monster and that little girl. And like the violence that occurs from that, like that is not present in the movie. In the movie, it is much more of a, like, there's almost zero violence at the hand of the creature, right? Like this, it really is just like happening around him. So,
I mean, the movie opens up with him.
I mean, okay, well, okay, hold on now. That's true. But in terms of like, you know, that's when he's already been vilified. But like, there's no point where like people turn against the monster and like, you know, things happen.
Well, I think there's no accidental violence
Correct.
caused by this monster.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And I think that's worse in a way, because now the monster does commit acts of violence, but by choice every time. And sure, a lot of it's in self-defense and things, but that kind of like childlike innocence of the creature, and you know, he's just killed this little girl, but it's not his fault because he doesn't know. He's a child. That all goes away, and now you have this creature who in self-defense is like really wrecking havoc, and your sympathy is kind of messed with in a way. You're not reacting to this the way that I think all of the best interpretations of Frankenstein require you to react to.
True.
And it kind of bums me out.
Let's start at the beginning here. So we're mostly introduced in the movie to Victor Frankenstein. That's going to be Oscar Isaac. What did you think about Oscar Isaac here?
I thought he was solid.
That's probably the best thing to say. Yeah, I think he was solid.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing a bad performance here.
No.
I think he's just a little kooky. I think he's a little out there as like a scientist, and the performance that he's putting on and the performance that Jacob Elordi puts on as the creature are completely different movies.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's more of like almost like a B-movie side thing with Oscar Isaac, the way he's portraying Victor Frankenstein, and Jacob Elordi is like, you will sit down and see my magnificence. Like it's a completely different thing. So I think that duality was like at odds through the majority of the movie. But Victor is the story, right? Everything starts with Victor, and there's some scenes early on that I was like, we're seeing some like cinematic masterpiece here. There's some classic Del Toro stuff too. His Victor's father is this scientist, and he introduces him to the idea of like anatomy and like studying like the body and everything, how it works.
Yeah.
And he has this this is the most Del Toro thing to me in the movie. He has this little doll. It's like a porcelain ceramic doll, and it's like the human body.
Yeah, I think it's made of ivory.
Ivory, thank you. So he can like remove the cover of the ivory and like see more of like the anatomy and like the organs of like the human body. And so much of that just feels like this is like what you're here to do, dude. Like make some gothic horror. This is great.
Yeah.
There's a scene early on too where Victor is making his first presentation to like a council of his discovery of how he can actually like reanimate a body, and the puppet that's used. And I love that it's a puppet, right? I'm sure there's some CG there, but it's a puppet, and he reanimates this puppet. And while he's doing this, Bill Hader has a great interview with Guillermo and Oscar where he's like, I loved this movie, but the moment where I was just so mad at Oscar Isaac was that scene, because not only are you reciting the script that's so well done and like you're performing it extremely well, you're bouncing a ball and like you're tossing it in the air and catching it. He's like, actors don't understand how difficult it is to like recite a line like this and portray it well while like focusing on the ball, because you're just too focused on like, okay, am I going to catch it? How high is it? Is it going to land? So there's like acting choices that he's making that are so good in this, and that overall scene of like the reanimated corpse is beautiful. And like the score kind of like swells. There's like a harpsichord that starts playing to make it a little bit more like less period piecey and more kind of like, you know, out there sci-fi. Loved that. I thought that was really smart. I have one issue with that scene, and it's that I don't believe that the council reacted properly. Because even at that time period in the 1800s, like even if I wasn't a fan of what this guy was doing and he reanimates a corpse, I would be like on my head and be like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And instead they're like, hey man, you can't do that here. Like, you got to get out of here, man. It's like, no, pop off a little bit more for this guy. He just reanimated a corpse.
It is funny.
But that scene is incredible. Like, there are scenes in this movie that are very, very engaging. And I loved that early on. I think that's where things started waning for me.
Yeah, like when he actually starts doing the Frankenstein stuff, that's when it starts waning.
When he finds the funding. Like, when he actually becomes, when he becomes the creator. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think what happens is that scene is fantastic. But even before this, and then certainly after this, a lot of the themings are so heavy-handed to me.
Yeah.
And it really frustrates me. They do the whole flashback to show when he was a child and his father, Charles Dance. He's talking to him about the death of his mother, and Frankenstein literally says, I will conquer death. Like, just puts it right out there.
Yeah.
There's no skirting around it. Later on in the movie, his brother looks him in the eye and he says, no, Victor, you're the monster. Like, there are so many moments that are so heavy-handed.
I opened side in the theater when that happened.
Yes, there's no subtlety to these themes. And even, I watched the making of, that's on Netflix, Frankenstein, The Anatomy Lesson, which is a great resource if you're looking for like every single department and how much effort they put into this movie. But Del Toro talks a lot about like the color usage in this movie and how at the beginning it's all blacks and whites, except for his mother, who is represented with red. I like that, but I think even that is too heavy-handed. It's just so blatant.
Well, because you know who else was severely red in the movie was the Angel of Death. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
the Angel of Death, and then Elizabeth, Mia Goth's character.
Which portrayed by Mia Goth as well.
What do you mean?
Oh, did you catch that? Victor's mother.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw that.
Yeah. I mean, they removed her eyebrows, but otherwise it's Mia Goth. But yeah, Mia Goth, and again, another very heavy-handed theme, the love interest of Victor in this movie, Elizabeth.
Yeah, and maybe the creature.
And the creature, well, definitely the creature, is portrayed both by Mia Goth, as well as his mother. So there's that whole, like, you know, well, now you're the Oedipus complex. Edible? Whatever. Oedipus, sure.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of heavy-handed themes in it, for sure. But the monster thing of just like, no, you're the monster. I think even the creature has an opportunity to say it towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So just a couple opportunities where it's like, oh, man.
It's too much.
You did not have to do all that
No.
specifically. But it's important to note, you know, performance-wise, I mentioned that Oscar Isaac is doing kind of a B-level performance here. I'd say 30 minutes on, I think he's really doing, like, leaning heavy into this B-level thing. Before that, I thought he was doing really well. I was really enjoying it. But mostly around the time that the creature actually kind of arrives, that's when you kind of like start realizing, oh, wait a minute. This movie could have been so much different because Jacob Elordi is doing something insane here. Can we make a little noise? Let's hear it for the boy with Jacob Elordi. Yeah, okay. So you feel the same way, though?
No, yeah, he's great. The problem I have with Jacob Elordi,
Okay.
Not even Jacob Elordi, I do not like the creature design in this movie.
Oh, sure.
And that detracts from his performance for me so much. I felt very similar to Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Sure.
Such a great movie. Could not get into the design of Count Orlok in that movie.
Do you think, because with Robert Eggers, he very much was, he said that the reason for the design of Nosferatu in that movie was to keep it true to the time period. He wanted to be as, like, you know, like his lighting and sound and everything in those movies, he tries to make it as close to the time period as possible.
I totally get it.
Do we think that a similar thing happened here with Frankenstein? Because my initial thought is no.
So what I had read is that the creature design was based on drawings done by Bernie Wrightson, who he found like a later version of the Frankenstein novel and was like, I'm going to create, or I'm going to draw exactly what the book is describing. So in a way, this is supposed to be like the most accurate representation of what Frankenstein's monster is supposed to look like.
Right.
However, I pulled up these drawings and like, yes, he has the long hair and he looks kind of pieced together, but in the film, he's just so clean.
Yeah. He's very purple.
He's purple. He looks a lot like the master race in Prometheus.
Oh my God.
I don't remember what they're called.
Yeah, for sure.
The engineers.
Yeah.
And it's just really distracting to me. I think he looks best when he's fully covered up with a cloak or whatever.
Yep. Specifically the scenes in Antarctica.
Yes. But it does not work for me, and it pulls me out of his performance in a big way. And that's unfortunate because he's great. He really is great.
Yeah, see, I didn't have as much of an issue with the physical appearance. I think for me, I always knew that Guillermo was going to do something a little different than just like the green creature with stitches all over. He's still very much stitched together, but for the most part, he looks like maybe he found one guy who like had a lot of pieces torn apart and he just sewed them back together. It doesn't look a lot of like, well, I took the arm of this guy and the leg of this individual and pieced them together. It does look like, hey, I just found the perfect specimen and just pieced them back together. Jacob Elordi is otherworldly in this movie. He does such a great job of learning from like the ground up. Maybe it's just like, sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game, but like I know he's in Euphoria.
Yeah.
And he's doing euphoric work in Euphoria. I don't mean that in necessarily that sense. I more mean he's playing the part in it. But you think about the people he's surrounded with, Sydney Sweeney, and the performances she's giving now in movies like The Housemaid, and you're just like, what are you doing on Euphoria, my guy? Like, yeah, Zendaya's in there as well, but like he is cooking in this movie. And there's moments where like, you know, he has to be, to your point, like a child, like an infant almost, where he can't speak, or the only word he knows is Victor, much to the displeasure of Victor Frankenstein. Yeah. I did think there's a really funny scene in this movie that is definitely intentional, where Victor is annoyed that all the creature is saying is Victor. And to me, it just felt like heavy, like I have a 9-month-old at home kind of thing, where you're like, say mama. And they're like, Dada. You're just stop saying Dada. Yeah. Say mama, please. There's a great scene in this where it just kind of feels like Victor's like begging, like, I just need you to learn one more word, buddy. Stop it. So that was pretty great. But he can play those parts. And, you know, if that's all he's doing, fine. But then you see him like really trying to like have a curiosity in the world and understand like why he is how he is, and learning from the older gentleman that he learns from, and then like that family inevitably. There's so many like great scenes from Jacob Elordi specifically, and it feels like this is the most like, it's funny we're saying this in the double feature day that you and I are having, a Shakespearean type performance in what he's doing. So if there's a reason to watch Frankenstein, and again, it's not like it's an unwatchable movie, Jacob Elordi is it for me. I think that a lot of the Del Toro that you see in this movie is very prevalent in all the other movies that he sees, but it's rare that he can get a kind of performance. It's also worth mentioning this is kind of the this is the role that would be played by Del Toro's longtime partner, Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Right? Like this would have been a perfect role for him, but there's so much more of a personality behind Frankenstein's creature than there is in like, you know, the creature in Shape of Water, or you know, the Pan in Pan's Labyrinth. Pan, either way. There's a lot more like that. So it's interesting that you would have seen in this role Doug Jones, and now you see Jacob Elordi. You're like, okay, what are we going to get from this? But it's actually probably the best decision that he made in this movie for me.
Yeah, and you know, there was that in-between time as well where Andrew Garfield was supposed to play the monster.
I wonder how that would have gone.
Yeah.
I don't think it... I wonder, because I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't know if Andrew Garfield necessarily would have given the... I think Jacob Elordi is perfect because not a lot of people know Jacob Elordi. Like, people know Jacob Elordi, but they're not like, oh, all I can see is Peter Parker, or all I can see is, like, his character in Social Network.
Right.
Eduardo. Like, I see so much of who you've been before, but with Jacob Elordi, he really is like a discovery almost in this movie, cinematically at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he was like Elvis and he was in Saltburn.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So it's not like his like first movie ever, but it really is like more of a newcomer thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's also
with that.
very tall. Andrew Garfield, I don't know if he has that on him.
I think he's almost 6 foot, Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
And Elordi's what, 6'2", something like that?
6'2" or 6'3",
Yeah.
probably. I mean, based on this movie, 8 feet. Like, he's just, he's so much taller
How
than
tall
everyone
are
else.
engineers from Prometheus? Yeah, I don't know. You are probably the better person to
You just stop there.
kind of, yeah, just as a whole, just to like kind of hype up Jacob Elordi's performance in this, because I really was taken out so much by the creature design and things.
And see, that's the thing that's tough is like if he was the costume designer or like, the makeup designer, then I'd say, hey, it's on him completely.
Yeah.
But like he can't control what he looks like in that movie. So the performance he's giving, in spite of like what anyone might think about his appearance, is remarkable.
It is.
And well worth the price of admission for this movie. To keep things short and sweet, I don't know what happened with this. I think specifically like it is a Del Toro movie. It looks like a Del Toro movie. One thing that I really like is that a lot of the production design here is very Del Toro in the sense of, hey, if we're building this castle, I need every room in this castle to be real. We need to build this out. We need a giant like little like pendulum here. We need to build out this laboratory. Yeah. And it looks great. He even like really pushed for the ship. There's a moment in the beginning of the movie and throughout the movie where there's a ship that's been, what's the word? Like stuck on the ice. Shipwrecked. Well, not shipwrecked, but
It's like beached, basically.
sure. Yeah. Thank you. Beached.
Sort of.
So it's like beached in ice.
Yeah.
And it can't get out. And that's kind of the basis of the story of like how they hear about Victor's tale and the creature's tale, which are the two sections of this movie. So that ship is fully built out. And they actually built this ship in total. And I'm not going to be the one to tell you, like, well, the ship is actually a character in this movie. And, like, just like New York and other movies. Yeah. It's not. But, like, it's just very cool that they built out this ship. There are some pretty heavy CGI scenes in this, specifically location-wise. Whenever there's, like, wide shots of locations, generally, CGI in the background. There's some wolves that get a bad beat in this movie in terms of the CGI.
Yep.
But otherwise, there's a lot of production that does scream Del Toro to me.
I want to give a shout out to Tamara Deverell and Shane Vio. They were the two nominated for production design. They were both nominated for Nightmare Alley. Oh. So they've worked with Del Toro before, as most of the crew was, I've come to find out. But Shane Vio, who was responsible for the set decorations, won for Shape of Water.
Oh, that makes sense.
So seasoned vets out here building ships.
I mean, again, it looks very good. So much credit to them. A question that I have for you: did you feel this is infamously a Netflix production, right? Netflix put this out, made it difficult to see in theaters. I was lucky enough to be able to see it in theaters. I know you caught it at home twice. So, do you feel that there was any heavy Netflix feel to this movie? Did it feel like Netflix, or in terms of like, them reciting the script, or not the script, them reciting the narrative a couple times, just in case you're not looking at the screen, like the more nefarious things we've heard about Netflix?
I don't know if anything like that existed. I think it's one of those rare exemptions they offer people where they're like, okay, it's Frankenstein, it's Del Toro, like, you do you.
I would say there's one other exception that we'll talk about later. Train Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't feel a lot of, I'm grieving.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think it's a little different when a movie gets picked up for distribution by...
Sure. Yeah, this started a Netflix production. You're right.
But no, it's so weird. Netflix productions have like a look to them, but I don't know if that's Netflix's fault here or if it's just Del Toro.
It does seem like an easy scapegoat, doesn't it?
It does.
Like when the movie's not great, I was like, damn you, Netflix.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not their fault, but like that's just the easiest thing to do. There is something off about this movie, and I would love to be the podcast that sits here and tells you exactly what it is, but there's just something that stops this from being like a great Del Toro movie. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's, for me, the biggest thing I can see is the vast difference between the acting performances of Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi in this.
And not just Oscar Isaac. I don't think Mia Goth is very good in this.
Christoph Waltz is doing a Christoph Waltz thing. Like, he's fine.
He's just fine, though.
It just feels like, hey, I'm Christoph Waltz. And I'm like, I don't even, like, his name's Harlander, the character. Yeah. But, like, the whole time I was just like, what's Christoph up to right now? Because he's just kind of playing Christoph.
He's like, I have syphilis. Yeah. Put my brain in this body. And then he's gone. And you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, see ya.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how much of it is the script itself, the screenplay. Because, again, there's such heavy-handed moments.
True.
You're the monster and all of that. I don't know that I love the romance in it. It's kind of just...
It feels forced.
It does feel forced. the other characters kind of feel hollow in a way that I don't think is a fault of their performances. They're just not written in a way that makes them, I don't know, interesting, which is so weird because it's Victor Frankenstein. Like, I know him.
Yeah.
You know, I should already be acclimated to that personality and that character's motivations and things. But it feels like they've presented me with a Victor Frankenstein that is just kind of empty and hollow.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to identify what it is that's making that happen for me.
A perfect example is William, Victor's brother. Like, we're kind of told very early on that William was the favorite of his father. After his mother died actually just before in childbirth with William. So his father, played by Charles Dance, did favor William a bit more. So losing his mother and watching his father reject him in favor of his brother did kind of drive him down this role of like madness, so to speak, but like more like he was just more driven to really like bring life back to death.
I will conquer death.
I will conquer death. There you go. So we're told to kind of like hate William, but William for the most part is just like more a victim of circumstance of like, I didn't choose for this to happen, man. Why are you mad at me?
He's just hanging out.
He's just hanging out.
He's kind of a silly, goofy guy.
You're right. There's a lot of maybe that's what Elizabeth likes about him. I don't know. There's just a lot of like happenstance in this where it's kind of like it just happens this way.
Yeah.
I also think that the first scene between Mia Goth and Jacob Elordi, when she discovers the creature in the sewers, just casually checking out the sewers of my brother-in-law's castle. Not a big deal. And she finds him. It's worth noting that there's like this like romance that like immediately between them, like a connection of sorts. This is while he can still only say the word Victor. She's very enamored by him. It's worth noting that within 30 seconds of meeting this creature, Mia Goth's character, Elizabeth, does allow his hand on her throat. And I was like, we're doing a little much here, guys. Like, this is just, it's very fast. It's very sudden. It feels rushed. So in a movie that's 2 hours and, you know, some change, it's closer to 2 hours and 30 minutes and it's not, it somehow feels rushed and dragged out at the same time.
Yeah.
I think putting it in parts wasn't a great idea. I think telling Victor's tale and then the creature's tale, majority of the movie is Victor's tale. And then creature's tale, by the end, you've already kind of made your decision about this movie, of how you feel.
Right.
So it's an odd duck. I don't know what to say, because I would love to tell you, hey, this is awful, don't see it. That's not the case. Or I'd love to tell you, hey, it's amazing, go see it. That's not the case either. It really is somewhere between.
Yeah.
And it makes sense why it's nominated 9 times, right?
Yeah. And again, I think watching that the anatomy lesson, the Frankenstein documentary, that go look at all of the technical wonders that they did with this movie.
And it's all valid.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And it's cool because this is a team, like I said, that Del Toro has worked with many times. And he mentions, like, I forget if he uses the metaphor of being a painter or like a conductor, but those are like the two most common tropes of a filmmaker as a director. But yeah, he's like, you know, everybody came together and like it was all a compilation of everybody's master craftsmanship. And it's really true. It's just it falls flat in the execution of the actual storytelling.
True.
It's so I don't know what it is, and I want to find out what it is that like the scene you just brought up where Mia Goth goes down in the sewers. I remember watching it again last night. Her and William show up to the castle, and Victor's like, come upstairs. I got something to show you. It's blah, I'm frantic. And they're like, where's Harlander? Where is he? And he's like, I don't know. Come upstairs. And then he like drags William upstairs, and then Mia Goth just wanders away.
Yeah. She was like chains moving or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she does her whole thing with the monster, but then it cuts to Victor upstairs with William and not Elizabeth. And I'm just like, aren't you a little worried, dude? Do you care? And because of that one decision, it felt like the screenplay said Elizabeth has to go encounter the monster.
Yes.
Well, what is Victor doing that he's so distracted? And they're like, I don't know, he's upstairs talking.
Yeah.
That's not believable.
No, it's not. And like basically because both, or especially because both individuals are in love with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Right? So like why wouldn't they at some point be like, hey, where is the love of my life?
Yes.
And also, why are you saying the love of your life?
Yes.
That's the love of my life. You said something very interesting there where you talked about like Del Toro comparing himself to a painter or a conductor. Very good segue because score is something that it's nominated for here.
Yes.
For his longtime contributor, I guess partner, Alexander Desplat, but also written by Eldbjørg Hemsing. Sorry.
Ooh.
I listened to the score on the way here. I feel like in the movie, it's kind of easy to get like lost in this, or not lost in the score, but kind of forget about the score a bit because there's a lot happening on screen and you're not paying attention much to the music behind it. That being said, I think it's mostly just kind of accompanying the scenes and not so much trying to stand out. There is one specific melody that's repeated a couple times, especially in the beginning of the movie, and it's kind of considered like Victor's theme that's kind of played throughout. And I think that's a little catchy. It's not very memorable, but just like it's a little like something, a motif to kind of hang on for the rest of the movie. And then I mentioned in that great scene with the council that he's presenting in front of, and there's like a harpsichord that kind of comes in.
Right.
I thought that was really strong. Otherwise, it really is just kind of like, it's a good score. There's nothing wrong with it. But it does just kind of accompany the movie rather than stand out at any time.
Which might be the perfect analogy for like everything in this movie.
Yeah.
They're all good. Good is such a boring way to describe them. But like they are all well done. But when they all come together to form this painting, this piece of music, this composition, they're all just kind of boring together. Like I hate saying that, but
you're right.
But yeah, I listen to the score as well, and it's just kind of like, it almost sounds like background music.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if you listen to this on its own, you get bored really quick. And I know that it is supposed to be played while the movie is on, but it doesn't add anything inspiring to the movie itself.
It's mostly classical, honestly. It just sounds kind of like classical music playing in the background. There's a scene where Victor and Elizabeth dance at a gathering that they're at. And the music really does pick up because I think the title on the soundtrack is Victor in Love. And it does pick up. And it's very like bright and like, fun. And that's kind of the peak. From that and the harpsichord are kind of the peak for me. But it has to be because it's supposed to be like an uplifting dance and everything. Otherwise, it is just like kind of part of the course. Gothic, little classical, like mostly violin, a little sad.
Yeah.
But it just stands there. I think another great metaphor for what you're saying here of like, hey, this is a perfect example of all of this, is that everything feels, and this is a little cute, so I apologize, stitched together. Like everything really is just kind of like we took this and this and this and put it together and hopefully you enjoy it. And it doesn't feel like Del Toro's true vision. The only thing that feels like, well, this has Del Toro written all over it other than the look, is that the classic theme that man is the monster.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just a little too heavy-handed in the script.
Agreed.
And that's what's really baffling to me is that this is written by Del Toro, right? This isn't like he picked up someone else's script and made the movie. Like it is written by Del Toro.
It's funny because you use the analogy again of all these pieces, all these players in the composition. They're all solid, but the thing missing here is the composer. There was no director nomination for Del Toro in this. And I wonder if that's kind of the thing. Like this man who, I don't know about you, but hearing the talks of Del Toro's working on a Frankenstein movie for like 20 years.
My God.
I was so hyped for years and years and years. And maybe it was kind of his ball to drop a little bit, which sucks.
It does. Honestly, I do wonder too, and I'll be the first person to admit this. I wonder how much of my, not even disenjoyment of this, but like, just like confusion of it stems from when they're like, hey, it's a Netflix production. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Like, that's the thing too. When he started talking about making this a film, it wasn't a Netflix thing. It wasn't until later that he signed his, I think it was a 3-picture deal with Netflix. He'd already done Pinocchio, which even Pinocchio, I think that's like just fine.
Yep. He worked on the Cabinet of Curiosities, which was like, Del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, but it was like a television series of sorts.
Yeah. I really don't know what it is. If Netflix like sprinkles a little something on all of these productions that just takes away some of the magic, some of the appeal of what Del Toro is known for, I cannot put my finger on it, but I'm sad that it exists.
I mean, you're 100% correct. And I think a way to kind of cap this off and talk about that is we're negative on the movie, but it is worth mentioning again that I'm still very happy with these nominations overall with the 10 movies, even defending F1. Right. I fall on my sword with that one. But with Frankenstein, even though it's not fantastic, it is still like my dad. If my dad's like, hey, should I watch Frankenstein? Yeah, man, you should. You should check it out. Because he has absolutely no expectation of like, oh, Del Toro made a Frankenstein movie? Dope.
Right.
So I think he flew a little close to the sun with this one. I think you're right. Like, there's a lot of anticipation that he's going to make this movie. I think he's made movies that are better than this, that were essentially his Frankenstein movie just without Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. So it's still fun. It's still enjoyable. I'm very happy that I got to see it in theaters. That's not something that a lot of people get to say. Yeah, I know. No, that's the thing. It's hopefully it's going to play again. I may have mentioned this on the last pod. I think I mentioned off pod though. AMC loves doing these Best Picture showcases where on the span of 2 days they'll play the nominees. Previously, they have been unable to play Netflix productions. And it's worth mentioning that Frankenstein and Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out Mystery, Jake Kelly, all of these movies that played in theaters did not play in AMC theaters because of that Netflix partnership. That has been waived. So now, this year, you can go to these Best Picture showcases and see Train Dreams and Frankenstein in AMC theaters. Yeah. So there's still an opportunity for people to see this in theaters, and I hope that they do if they haven't seen it already. But I will say that didn't fully change my opinion on this movie.
Right.
In theaters, I was just more like, yeah, that was fine. But why didn't I like that more? Because I love Del Toro. And obviously, we all like the story of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But something was just in the middle there. So it's heavy at the bottom for me. I think we talked about this early on when we talked about our predictions, but this is a movie that's going to be carried by its below the line nominations. Mm-hmm. Very much production design, makeup and hairstyling, costume design. These are things where I think it's going to have a pretty heavy hand in its chances to win. In things like sound, original score, cinematography, adapted screenplay, best picture, I'm not so sure. I will say I don't think he's going to win, but supporting actor, Jacob Elordi, that is a very strong nomination for him. And I would not be shocked in any other year if he won for this performance.
No, I agree with you.
I don't think he's beaten out Stellan Skarsgård for sentimental value.
No.
But he could.
No, he could. Yeah. I think that's the one I'm probably most like, I see the big possibility here. Yeah. As great as everything else was.
Benicio, Sean Penn.
Yeah. But like the technical nominations in this as well. Sorry. Like, sound. I don't know. You got One Battle After Another. You've got Sinners. You got F1. The great Rooms. And everything else. The score, the costume design. Like, I think there are other films this year that kind of just have a one-up on just about every category here. And, that's fine, I guess. You'll see these guys again. That's the thing. Like I've mentioned so many times, this crew, they are Del Toro's crew. They've all been, not all of them, but most of them have been nominated before. Dan Laustsen, the cinematographer, was nominated for The Shape of Water, Nightmare Alley. He also did the John Wick movies, I think starting with the second one onward.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
He's worked with Del Toro since 1997 when he did Mimic, which is such a long time to work with anybody. But the costume designer, Kate Hawley, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, like she's worked with him before. She also did the Hobbit films.
Crimson Peak, another great one.
Yeah.
Completely blanked on
I used that as a double feature one time.
I thought you meant that time. I was like, did you just give it away?
So, yeah. Let me just throw it out there. But even Alexander Desplat, like you said, he was The Shape of Water. He won for that. He won for the Grand Budapest Hotel. He's been nominated 12 times. So a very seasoned composer. This just wasn't it as a whole for me in every category. It was all just fine.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think supporting actor is like way more than fine.
Yeah.
But everything else is just completely fine. And it makes sense that it was nominated. One more thing I want to say about Frankenstein before we wrap up here is I want to do a little coda, a little cute thing at the end here.
Okay.
I want to talk about horror.
Yeah.
Horror has had an incredible year at the Oscars here. I wish I was more proud of the horror that we do have in something like Frankenstein. But, I mean, let's break it down. Frankenstein is nominated for Best Picture, 9 nominations overall.
Yeah.
Sinners is horror, for sure. Nominated, broke the record for nominations for Oscars. Unreal that a horror movie is able to do that.
Yes.
Weapons was nominated in outside of Best Picture, probably the best thing they could have, which is supporting actress for Amy Madigan in the role of Aunt Gladys.
Absolutely.
Unreal. Ugly Stepsister was nominated for makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah.
That's a Shudder production, or at least distributed by Shudder.
That's what's so cool about that to me, because makeup and hairstyling is usually where you see the horror nominations pop up.
Yeah.
But it's
Substance historically last year.
Yeah, but it's really exciting that Shudder now has entered the Academy Awards.
So cool. I mean, Mubi, you're right. Mubi Entertainment was there previously with The Substance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very cool to see horror prevalent here. It's not the first time we've seen horror, right? We've seen Get Out nominated for Best Picture before.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs before that.
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Yeah.
We've seen horror here before. What I'm happy about is the amount of horror that we're seeing.
You know, the thing that's a bummer is like when we said, okay, Frankenstein got nominated, we can talk about horror at the Academy Awards. Like, this is a big deal. Up until I rewatched it last night, I was totally on board. But this is just not a horror movie. And that's what kind of bums me out. Like, the creation of this story by Mary Shelley is, everyone was like, I bet I can write a scary story and you can't, blah, blah, blah. And Mary Shelley was like, bet, bop, bop, bop. And she wrote this iconic story about this monster being brought back from the dead. And none of that horror exists in this movie. You could argue like the violence in it is horror and things.
Maybe the scene in the cabin with the wolves and that older man, like that's some horror, but like that's about it.
But even then, I'd almost say that's like action. Like, it's a tragedy, but it's not really a horror, you know? So it does bum me out that like this kind of outlet to be able to talk about horror at the Academy Awards, it's not really warranted through Frankenstein.
Right.
I think that it'll be much more exciting to talk about Sinners.
Sure.
In the horror category, but this is just another reason for me to be like, Del Toro, what come on, man. Like, make the Frankenstein movie that we know you, I don't know, I can't say that you can make, because he did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
And infamous as he said, it's done.
Yeah, that's it. It's over. And I just think maybe it was a 6.5 and not a 10.
So, and that's why I love that he said 6.5.
Yes.
Because that's kind of exactly what he did.
Yeah. You want to move into ratings ourselves?
I think so. I'm pulling up my rating right now, but spoiler alert, I was not at a 6.5. Okay, that sounds about right. Oh, let me ask you something. Okay. On Letterboxd, the review that you left, was that your most recent review or was that your first review?
That was my first review.
Okay. Do you think it's changed much? Good or bad? Since your second watch?
I don't think it's changed much.
Okay.
But I don't remember what I said.
I mean, I have it pulled up here, but
let me pull it up. How do I pull this up?
I do like your last line on your interview or your review.
Does it say, I would have preferred the audience? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I brought up you're the monster, Victor line.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I kind of stayed on the same level here in terms of our review. We were the same rating. Do you want to just announce that together?
Yeah.
We both had 3 stars.
We did.
We gave this 3 stars. I think that's completely fair. I think that's exactly in the middle. I mean, granted, 2.5 would have been exactly in the middle.
Right.
But this, to me, it's still like there's Del Toro sensibilities in there. The performance that Jacob Elordi has given. Like, there are good things in this movie. There's just also very, like, why don't I care more about this?
Yes.
Vibes throughout this movie. So, for me, I definitely blame Netflix. I think that's easier than like I've put Del Toro on too high of a pedestal, so I'm not like, Del Toro, you goofed on this one. I'm more like, Netflix, why did you let Del Toro goof on this one? That's your fault. And maybe that's not fair. But when I saw this and I walked away, I was like, man, that just felt more Netflix than I thought I wanted it to, or than I did want it to. So 3 stars is fair for me. I know a lot of people who did really like this movie. Jordan, who was on the podcast in December to talk about All Quiet on the Western Front. Huge horror guy, huge Universal Monsters guy, loves Frankenstein, and he loved this movie. So there are things that like people do like about this movie that we didn't get, that didn't work for us. So again, mileage may vary, but I think it's very funny that you and I landed on the same rating for this.
Yeah. It dropped too from last night.
That makes sense.
I had started at a 3.5, and after I rewatched it, I was like, no.
I wonder. I do think I hope you get to see this in theaters at some point, whether it be this year or like in years to come.
Yeah, maybe like 10 years from now. I don't think I could rewatch it again.
And that's fair, because especially just watching it a second time at home, like you're not inspired, especially with the death race that you're doing. Like, you're not inspired to make time to go see this. But I do wonder if your rating would change. If you see it in theaters, you're like, no, that is a 3.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the visuals that really pulled me out of it, but it really is the story and the drive of the story. And, that's the same whether you watch it in IMAX or you watch it on a iWatch. What are they called?
iPic? No.
What are the watches called that
Apple Watch?
Yeah.
iWatch.
I don't use
That's
an
what
iWatch.
I do. I watch.
Exactly. But no, I hear you. Like, yes, the experience 9 times out of 10 is more enjoyable in a theater. But
yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention is when we talk about Del Toro visuals, there's a scene almost straight out of Crimson Peak, but or Hellboy, with the Angel of Death. There's a nightmare that or a dream that Victor has where the Angel of Death is like reaching its hand out to him and it's like engulfed in flames.
Yeah.
And to me, I was just like standing and applauding, and I was like, Del Toro, you did it again. Like, it looks great, and it doesn't look too CGI. Like, I loved it.
Don't watch this at home, man.
See,
Don't
there you
watch
go.
this at home.
There's the difference watching it in a theater. I do want to rewatch it at home. Well, let me take that back. I think I will watch it at home.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to do that, but I'm interested to see where my rating changes.
I would be interested too.
We'll see.
It's going to drop.
Also, a big shout out to my Degrassi fans out there. Paige McElchuck does have a cameo in this movie. That doesn't mean a ton for a lot of other people, but she does appear in this movie and in theaters. This is how out of the movie I was by towards the end. This actress shows up on screen. She's the mother of the family in the cabin.
Oh.
And she shows up, and I just stopped. I was like, is that Paige McElchuck from Degrassi? And it is. And I told Taylor, and she did not care about anything I was saying about Frankenstein. But when I mentioned that, she was like, I'm listening. Do I need to watch Frankenstein?
Everybody's getting attacked by wolves, and you're like, feel the rain on your skin.
Yeah, let's, be the best that I can. Okay, so do you want to talk double features?
I do.
I feel like I have gone first a lot of times in this, so I'd love for you to continue going first.
I think I've gone first every episode so far this season.
Maybe that's more what I'm thinking. It's your turn.
I'm going to double feature this. I'm going to pair it with another adaptation of a classic monster, iconic monster.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Great pick.
I think that Coppola took another iconic horror novel and kind of looked past the adaptations that had been made for the screen prior and really stuck true to the source material and did his own thing and made this really accurate gothic horror film while also kind of making things his own. The look of Dracula in that movie is very unique.
Yep.
Gary Oldman looks weird as heck.
The old beehive head.
Yes. But he did it in a way that I think Del Toro kind of missed. So I think this is a good opportunity to watch Frankenstein and be like, okay, here's taking this classic story and kind of doing your own thing and maybe faltering a little bit, and then here's doing it in a way that just, it hits.
Yeah.
That's what Bram Stoker's Dracula is to me.
Interesting. Like, it's a better blend of, like, the faithful and the chance that you took.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
How it can be done right.
I think so.
Great pick.
Thank you.
That's a great comparison. I went with more of the idea of like a creator, the idea of like a creator and its creation. I think that a majority of Del Toro's Frankenstein, after Victor actually creates life and conquers death, that he spends the majority of the movie being kind of like oh geez, oh man, oh look what I did, oh no, and like that's it. That's really him coming to terms with everything. I wanted to pair this with a movie with a creator who actually has a little bit more of a hand in the invention and the creation that he makes and sees more of the repercussions of this than maybe Victor does in Frankenstein. And so I paired it with the 1986 Cronenberg movie The Fly. I think that this is a different version of how involved a creator can be in the process. I think that because Jacob Elordi has so much to work with in this movie, it really does almost quite literally, even with like, the second part, The Creature's Tale, be about the creature more than it is Victor in this case. And I really like the idea of seeing a creator who actually was more personally and physically affected by his creation. Yeah. I also think that it kind of blends the horror better in The Fly than it does in Frankenstein, because you're right, it is more of a gothic horror, and then horror kind of has like a parentheses for Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's so prevalent in what Cronenberg does with The Fly in 1986.
I like it.
Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, obviously extremely gross.
Yeah.
But that was what I was thinking.
Big old stack of donuts.
Yeah, big old stack of donuts. Great mirror scene.
Yeah. That's a solid choice. I like it.
I'm trying to redeem myself after Top Gun Maverick with that one.
Oh, listen, that one made sense.
That was peanut butter to jelly. I'm doing peanut butter bananas now.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. I don't like peanut butter and banana. I'm sorry.
Maybe I was doing peanut butter and banana. Now I'm doing peanut butter and jelly. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, now we're hitting. Now we're hitting.
Now we're in the Uncrustables of podcasts.
Hey, in the original story, Victor Frankenstein is in Antarctica or the Arctic,
Sure.
pursuing the monster to destroy it, isn't he?
Correct.
Yeah, they changed too much in this. I don't like it.
Well,
I don't like it.
take that up with Netflix and or Del Toro.
I blame Del Toro. You blame Netflix, I blame Del Toro.
There you go. We're both agreed on that.
Anyway, that's going to do it for Frankenstein. An exciting promotion we've got going on right now. We have the Patreon account, of course. Recently, I've been doing my Oscar death race, and every Friday I post my recap of what I've watched that week leading up to the Oscars. If you're unfamiliar with the Oscar death race, I'm watching every movie nominated in every category at the Academy Awards. So there's 50 films. As of right now, which won't line up with the timeline, I'm 52% done. So I watched 26 of the 50. So
You're going to knock out another one later tonight.
yeah. If you want to check that out, you can sign up at patreon.com/OUTAO podcast. However, we also have the community Discord. Normally that is available through a paid tier, but we are running a special all through February where if you follow the Patreon for free, doesn't cost you anything at all, you will get an invite to the Discord. So if you want to talk this year's Oscars, if you want to just follow along and then like you're in, you know, it's not like once February is over, we're going to kick you out. You're in. You want to talk 1930s this year or the 1940s next year, whatever. Give us a follow over on the Patreon account, and you will have essentially lifetime access to that Discord.
Incredible.
So long as you don't do anything goofy and weird, because then I'll kick you out.
Am I going to get kicked out?
Listen,
I exclusively do goofy and weird things.
we'll talk after the pod.
No,
We'll talk
reprimanded
after the
again.
pod. But also, if you want to just shoot us an email about any of these movies, tell us why Frankenstein was an actual masterpiece and
Sure.
we're both big dummies.
Happy to hear it.
Yeah. Shoot us an email at outaopodcast@gmail.com.
Or post in the Discord once you join from Patreon.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And what's the other thing? I never say rate and review the podcast.
You know what you should do, guys? You should rate and review the podcast.
I agree. That helps a lot.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen.
All the heavy hitters on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're actually doing pretty well on YouTube.
Are we?
Did you know that? Yeah.
Huh.
It's kind of fun.
I've enjoyed that. The TikToks are doing very well, too.
Yeah.
By the way, huge credit, guys. Huge round of applause in the audience out there. The work that Kyle is doing on the videos on TikTok of the episode previews, masterful. So good.
Oh,
The begonia one's incredible.
dude, that one's so funny because I made that. It's such a simple little TikTok, but because I added the music that we're talking about, I'm just like, I do believe this is my masterpiece. But it's all because of Jerskin Fendrick's like.
Well, also, I think like you found the perfect, like I come in with like to me, this means, and like it was a perfect like reintroduction from the music. It's like, man, he nailed this. So no, great work. Unfortunately, you have to keep that up for the rest of the season. So good luck with that.
Great. Thanks, Alexander Desplat.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Make a better score next time for our editing purposes.
Please. But I mean, I think that's going to do it for this episode. You have anything else you want to add?
No, very excited to continue talking about these, and I think that Frankenstein and F1 are kind of the weird low points of this, and it
agree.
just keeps getting better from here.
I agree. So look forward to the next episode where we're going to be covering Chloe Zhao's Hamnet. I'm excited about that one.
Very excited.
That's going to do it for today's episode. As always, I'm your host, Kyle.
And I never considered what would come after creation. And having reached the edge of the earth, there was no horizon left.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah, right? Also, you're the monster.
And we'll see you at the movies.